Victoria Cross is Britain's highest military decoration, being awarded for supreme acts of valour. 628 were awarded in the First World War, and some Scottish holders of the VC are well known. Daniel Laidlaw, the Piper of Lewes, and William Angus, to name just two. But for every well-known story, some are perhaps deserving of just a little bit more attention. So here are 10 First World War Scottish VCs you may not know. Number 1. John Ripley. Ripley, from Keith in Banffshire, was 47 years old when, as a corporal in the 1st Battalion Black Watch, he won the VC in May 1915 for leading his platoon in an assault and being the first man in the battalion to climb the enemy parapet. From there, he directed men following him through the gaps in the German barbed wire before leading his section to the second line of trenches. He held his position until all the men with him had fallen and he was badly wounded in the head. Ripley survived the war and later lived in St Andrews in Fife, where he sadly died in 1933 at the age of 65 after falling off a ladder. Number 2. George Wilson. George Wilson from Edinburgh was one of the earliest VC winners of the First World War, being awarded it for his single-handed capture of a German machine gun on the 14th of September 1914. A private in the 2nd Highland Light Infantry, Wilson attacked the machine gun post accompanied by only one other man. When this man was killed, Wilson continued alone, shooting the German officer and 6 men who were operating the machine gun. He survived the war only to die of tuberculosis at the age of 39 in 1926. Number 3. George de Cardinal Elmsall Findlay. From an early VC to one of the last of the First World War, George Findlay was a major in the Royal Engineers who had already been awarded the Military Cross when, on the 4th of November 1918, he won the VC for his actions in repairing a bridge during the forcing of the Sambre-Ouse Canal. Although wounded, he continued his work and after 2 unsuccessful efforts he managed to place the bridge in position and was first man across. He later added a bar to his Military Cross, reached the rank of Colonel and became Deputy Lieutenant of the County of Dumbarton. Number 4. Robert MacBeth. Originally from Kinlochbervie, Robert was a 19-year-old Lance Corporal in the 5th Battalion Seaforth Highlanders when he won his VC at the Battle of Cambrai. With the assistance of a tank, he attacked several machine gun positions, driving the enemy to a dugout, which he successfully captured. The Duke of Sutherland had offered a farm to any man in the battalion who earned the Victoria Cross. MacBeth got his farm but didn't like it, and so he sold up and emigrated to Canada, becoming a police officer. He was sadly shot on duty in October 1922, aged only 23. He's the youngest Scot to win the Victoria Cross during the Great War. Number 5. John Carmichael. John Carmichael, from Glen Mavis in North Lanarkshire, was a sergeant in the North Staffordshire Regiment when, on the 8th September 1917, while excavating a trench, he spotted a grenade which had a burning fuse. Rather than trying to throw the bomb, he instead put his tin helmet on top of the grenade and then stood on it. The blast threw him out of the trench and caused injuries that meant it took 3 years for him to walk again, but his bravery saved the lives of his comrades and saw him awarded the VC. Number 6. Walter Potter Ritchie. A Glaswegian and one of 6 children in the family, Walter Ritchie initially trained as a blacksmith but joined the army despite being underage. When war broke out, he went with his battalion as a drummer, winning the Victoria Cross on the first day of the Battle of the Somme for repeatedly sounding the charge and rallying men from various units who had lost their leaders and were wavering and starting to retire. He survived the Great War despite being wounded 5 times and gassed twice. He rejoined the army in the Second World War and served on the home front until discharged in 1941 due to ill health. Number 7. Ross Tarleton. Tarleton was from Hurlford in East Ayrshire, and in September 1914, at the First Battle of the Inn, he carried the wounded officer to a place of safety, remaining with him for 3 days until both were rescued. He never recovered from the injuries he received in that action and died in 1931 at the age of 41 from stomach cancer. Number 8. Joseph Watt. Joe Watt was born in the fishing village of Gardenstown in Banffshire and became involved in the fishing trade from an early age, so it's unsurprising that he served in the Royal Navy in the Great War. He won his VC while skipper of His Majesty's drifter Gowan Lee. Despite being ordered by an Austrian cruiser to abandon his ship, Watt instead ordered full speed ahead and called on his crew to fight to the finish. His ship survived the action and he rescued men from other ships lost. A rather shy man, Watt refused to speak about his wartime experiences, saying, "There has been too much said already and it should get a rest. I'm ashamed to read the exaggerations which have been printed." He kept his VC in a drawer full of junk on board his fishing boat, although today it is now displayed at the Imperial War Museum in London. Number 9. Hugh McEver. A 28-year-old from Kilbarkin in Renfrewshire, Hugh McEver was a private in the 2nd Royal Scots when, on the 23rd of August 1918, he carried messages under heavy artillery and machine gun fire. He then pursued an enemy scout into a machine gun post, killed 6 of the garrison and captured 20 prisoners and 2 machine guns. Not content with that, he then managed to stop a British tank from firing on a friendly position. Sadly, his luck was to run out 10 days later as he was killed in action on the 2nd of September 1918. Number 10. Arthur Henderson. Son of a Paisley magistrate, Arthur Henderson was an acting captain attached to the 2nd Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders when he won the Victoria Cross on the 23rd of April 1917 for leading his company through the enemy front line until he gained his final objective. Although wounded in the left arm, he consolidated his position, and despite being under heavy artillery and machine gun fire and bombing attacks, he managed to maintain the spirits of his men and held the position. He was unfortunately killed the following day. So that's our 10 Scottish Great War VC winners. What did you think of our list? Is there a First World War VC winner you think we should have mentioned? Why not tell us in the comments below, leave a like on this video, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon for more like this.